This is my review on the Disney Plus exclusive version of Iron Man in the Imax aspect ratio from 2008 Iron Man movie from 2008. This is my review. I actually like this movie, now after seeing the proper aspect ratio and the IMAX aspect ratio and, seeing what it's supposed to look like. I actually enjoy this movie, and thanks to it being in the proper aspect ratio, the Iron Man outfit actually looks like a beautiful hot red in this one, a flame hot red. Like, it looks like the proper red like the comics had, so yeah, that makes everything much better. The fact that the suit now looks red instead of, well, brown. So, what's the plot? Well, Tony gets this battery implant in his chest after surviving an explosion to his heart and getting operated on. Now he's wearing a battery in his chest and gets upgraded to a heart reactor throughout the free-act structure. While he's in the middle of a cave, captured by terrorists and being held hostage until he builds the weapon. The newest Tony Stark weapon called the Jericho. They want him to build so he can not do that and build something else, and that's the prototype Iron Man Mach 1 costume. And he makes his escape after building the suit and getting suited up, and shuts down the manufacture of all weapon tech for stock entries providing for the military until further notice, because of the whole thing with it ending up in enemy lines. It's not good. So that's why Tony's shutting down the weapons and not making any more weapons for anybody until further notice. Then he gets kicked off the board. Well, he doesn't get. I'm sorry. I'm looking for the. There was a board meeting, and Tom wasn't a part of it, and it's the kind of one. So he's not allowed in the business decisions anymore from his own company and stuff because, well, and he's in the middle of making another Iron Man costume, Mark II, and that was a bit of a dud because it freezed in space, so he has to make a Mark III, and then perfects it, and yeah, and turns out Obadiah is staying. Tony's old friend was the person that hired the terrorists that kidnapped to kill Tony Stark, that they didn't do in the first place because they were busy negotiating with the Obadiah. So yeah. Anyways, so where was I? Oh yeah. So Pepper finds all this in the third act after sneaking into Obadiah's office and downloading the files from his computer onto his flash drive as proof to show to people. Who shows you? Not clear. And he runs into Coulson, who works for S.H.I.E.L.D. but hasn't changed the name yet into acronym. And but by the third end of the movie, they'll get the name Shield, so don't worry about that. And oh, and at the end credits, after the end credits are over, there's a post-credits scene where Nick Fury reveals himself to the audience, to Tony Stark, and reveals that he's director of S.H.I.E.L.D., head director of S.H.I.E.L.D., and brings up the Avengers Initiative, teasing the real reason why this movie was made, to make the Avengers movie from 2012. So that's the only reason why this movie was made, I'll be honest. But as a commercial, it's fine. I give it a solid 10 out of 10 for being fun, though. Really fun. It's a true guilty pleasure Iron Man movie, because while it doesn't do the best fleshing out his character as the later installments will do, it is a good, well, it's still a good movie. And, the movie ends with him defeating dies, nearly putting his life on, nearly dying, and coming out with the public that he is Iron Man, and Tony and Iron Man are the same person, and saying fuck the cue cards, and going off the script, and saying he's Iron Man to the world, and ending that story of Iron Man, the first chapter in Tony Stark's life. And so, that's the story. I do have mixed feelings about the end. On one hand, now, I think the fact that Tony Stark, that the scene was, this scene that was improvised by Robert Downey Jr., him coming up with his name and making Iron Man and Tony Stark the same person to the public eye, was improvised by Tony Stark. Now, I feel like this is both a good and not so good bad ending, because this ending kind of poisoned the MCU, I'm just going to say it right now, and kind of left into a bit of a corner, long term in hindsight. So, on one hand, I feel like this ending serves the character perfectly fine, this version of the character of Iron Man from the MCU, this ending of him going public with his identity. However, I didn't think, I felt like outside of Iron Man, it didn't work well for others by taking the whole superhero identity from the other characters and making them a one known character to the entire public. I felt, in long terms, got very repetitive and idiotic after a certain point. Was in the MCU. I feel like to this day is the MCU's greatest problems. Next, they have weak ass and limited time screen villains that get screen time only to get killed off for less than a full in the first debut and the movie's debut. So yeah, this I feel like the whole superheroes not having a secret identity in the MCU has become a bit of a problem. I feel like, I feel like it just doesn't work. It doesn't feel right when you do it with the other characters. I mean, Iron Man worked for, I feel like, but other characters like Captain America, Hulk didn't really work at all. So yeah, I give this a 10 out of 10, and bye, subscribe, like this video please, and goodbye.